Board games, it's what I'm talking about. Board games, I'm not gonna shout. I am starting off this morning with a little bit of singing. And hello to you, Xate. Thank you for this morning greeting. And I also will thank everyone who contributes along to this song. And over here to one side of me, very soon you will see the person that has very much impressed me as a wonderful guest. And I am continuing the song. It is here, Calvin Wong. Hello. And
Hello.
Calvin is dancing along now. And we are carry on in a round. And hello, Alan, to you. Thank you for the picture. It was very nice to do. And today we're going to be talking about writing for a game. Twilight Imperium is that game's name. It's made by Fantasy Flight Games. I don't know all the people who work for the company. I don't know their names. Board games, board games. That's what we're talking about. Board games, board games. I'm not going to shout. Hey! Good morning, Calvin. Good evening.
Hello.
How are
So happy
you?
to be back. Yes, I'm doing pretty good. Let me drink some water. Hydration is very important. It's very warm at the moment.
Oh yes. I'm trying to remember where Malay. It's basically hot all the year round. Like you don't really have normal seasons, right?
Hot, hot and rainy. Yeah.
Okay, so you have a rainy season and a dry season, and it's always hot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here it says the
But it's hotter than usual even.
oh, because you are just north of the equator, right?
Yeah.
Like, ooh, and yeah, as I always say, I am Bez, and it is, if you are in Australia or New Zealand, it is bedtime, and we are going to be blethering about board games. So, out of tribute to all the Australian and New Zealander friends, it is busy bedtime board game blether. I know it's a bit early bedtime in Malaysia, but hey, it's bedtime
Yeah.
somewhere.
We got to let our Southern Hemisphere friends have it every once in a while, right?
Hmm.
You know, I don't think I've
And
ever been to
it's
the
not
Southern
to do with the
Hemisphere.
hemisphere, it's to do with how far along the world.
Oh.
Like
No, but
it's
I guess,
slightly
yes.
east of you.
Actually,
But
I
anyway,
don't think I've ever been to the Southern Hemisphere.
I
If you think about it, a lot of people. No, wait, no. I've been to Bali. Okay, yeah, that's in the Southern Hemisphere. That counts.
mean, wait a minute. Is Singapore right on the hemisphere? Like, I've been to Indonesia. Is that south?
Depends on which part of Indonesia.
Bhutan?
What? What's it called
Bhutan.
again?
I will look it up. Bhutan. Is it in the? No. Sorry, not Bhutan. That's I'm totally wrong. It was just south of Singapore. It was the closest one.
Then yeah, probably you were in the Southern Hemisphere. Nice.
Ooh. And what's the time at the North and South Poles now? Oh, Alan, always with the difficult questions. This question would not be quick to answer. That would take a lot of research, and I'm sure you're more equipped to do that than us. Yep, it is. Thank you very much, Xate. It is lovely to see you, and thank you very much. It is my birthday. My mum rang me quite early to remind me that I was born at 7 a.m. So, yep, that was a thing.
Happy birthday.
Thank you very much, Alan. Who
Bez. Happy birthday to Bez. Happy birthday, dear Bezzy. Happy birthday to Bez. Okay.
Thank you.
How's it so far? Thank you so much for spending it with me. Oh my god. Like, I can think of a lot of things that people could do on their birthday that would be better than listening to me.
I mean, honestly, it's a weird one because it's not like I can have a big party. It's not like I can be with my parents, do you know what I mean? Or my family. And yeah, also there's health complications in our household, let's put it that way. I don't want to get too into it, but there's been some health complications and someone went to hospital just in the wee hours of this morning. Oh, no. Fingers crossed they turn out okay. And there was, out of the 4 people I've been meeting who aren't part of this household, one of them said they might see me today, but it's like, yeah, if your housemate is being a bit sick, understandably not coming over. So yeah, we'll see what happens. And honestly, I'm not sure if it's the way it is. A lot of other people have had birthdays at COVID, and sometimes it's a non-event. Sometimes people have birthdays even when it's not a pandemic and it's a bit of a non-event. But yeah, maybe I will do something special, like grab myself a takeaway or something like that.
Yeah, that sounds nice. I what do you call it? I just designated the entire month of April like Calvin's birthday month. So another month of April. April 20th, which is my birthday, all the way to March 20th was Calvin's birthday month. And every day that month I tweeted a tradition, like happy 9th of Calvin. Today's tradition is, and it was all inspired by Calvin and Hobbes comic strips. So that was a very nice thing to do.
I love Calvin and Hobbes. Oh my god, I love finished. And thank you very much, Jess. That's very kind of you.
Oh my god, Jessica, that's a phenomenal photo of you. Oh my god, I love that so much.
And
that's a great photo.
Oh wow. So it was Jessica's nephew's 10th birthday yesterday, so we had a family tea party on Zoom together. That sounds nice. Did you kind of coordinate the cups or something else? And question for Calvin: do you play Calvin ball?
Oh, I've never really been able to get into it professionally. Just like an amateur Calvin ball player. Wasn't.
Yeah, all those rules. You need to be pretty shrewd.
I agree. Not that smart.
Oh, Xate was a pro player.
Oh, amazing. We're in the presence of greatness. Nice. Well done.
Okay.
I do want to say that I do have to run pretty much at 6 on the dot today, so we'll have to keep it to on time today.
Okay. Yeah. Sure thing. So let's hold on. I am going to give a sneak preview. I'm going to share this screen, which shows some of the pictures of what we're going to be talking about. This is a game that has a lot of big fans. Maybe you've heard of it, TWILIGHT IMPERIUM, and talking about this whole thing.
So why don't I explain what this is? Okay, so
Well, I was thinking this is just a teaser, and then we'll go through the brilliant things first.
okay, all right.
We'll race through the normal sections, I promise you.
All right. So I thought you'd want me to explain what the thing was. Okay, my fault.
No, I just wanted to flash it up for 10 seconds to tease people. It's like, okay, so that's what we're talking about today.
You're smarter than I am, Des. You're smarter than I am.
Now we talk about the brilliant thing. Brilliant thing. What's a little thing which is brilliant?
Sorry, one second.
Sorry, I will mute you for a second. Okay, I don't think I have talked about takeaways. I mean, I know that takeaways are an incredibly privileged thing to have, but to have someone else cook food for you and then to be able to select from a menu, this is what I want. And then you don't have to sit there with other people. You don't have to put up, okay, yeah, I know that sometimes it's really nice, especially when you're on holiday and you're in like a lovely country and you're sitting outside and you get to see people passing. That's nice having the change of environment. But especially right now, a takeaway where someone cooks for you, select from a menu and it's, yeah, I want that. I want to eat that. And then they make it for you, just for you. It's like having a personal chef. It's almost like hiring a personal chef for a short period of time.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. No, absolutely. So good. Like Dee and I have been having a bunch of Indian takeaway recently because she's had to be vegetarian for a while for medical reasons, and we have this northern Indian cuisine that's right next to our house, and just buying two like Tupperwares of curry will last us for so many meals because it's so filling and so flavorful. You just eat like just like a couple of spoonfuls on rice and you just eat that, and that's your whole meal. And so the takeaway actually lasts like 4 or 5 meals per takeaway thing, and it's phenomenal.
I mean, I have to admit, if I get to takeaway, I am finishing that. No, pretty much no matter what it is, I'm finishing it.
Yeah,
I am licking the insides of the plastic containers. I am enjoying it all. And now, games. What will we be playing? What are their names? Games. I did not play any games yesterday. Have you played any games in the last few days, Calvin, that you want to talk about?
I have. I want to talk about this one. This is a Malaysian game called Nak Makan Apa. So in Malay,
Nak Makan Apa.
Yes, which means what do you want to eat? So tell me if this seems familiar, right? You're all at a restaurant. You've all sat down. You're like, okay, what are we ordering? Yeah. So this is a game that simulates that process. So I'll show you a few cards. So the cards will come up, and these are all like Malaysian food. Like that's right.
Oh,
and
man,
you see that
my mouth watering. Nice.
So so you see that each card has got a point value, so that's worth 1 point, and 3.
Okay, yeah.
And it's got 3 flavor profiles. So that one has beef, it's sweet, and it's also got gravy. So that's what those 3 icons mean.
Okay,
right?
yeah.
So the object of the game is to order 4 points worth of food by playing cards which match the icons. So most of the cards in the game look like this. So this is like a spicy icon, and this is wrong card. And that's dry and gravy. That one's rice. So you play out cards underneath the menu cards, so that and then if you can manage to match all 3 of the icons, then you order the food. But the thing is that the food is slowly rotating away. It's like, I don't want that anymore. Order something else. So it's a very Malaysian thing, right? Like everyone goes to the restaurant, but like, what do we want? I don't know. So it's.
Oh no, I think that's the thing all over the world. You know what I mean? Okay. Like people say like, oh, are you ready to order, or are you ready to order? But I think, I don't know, in Malaysia, do people normally order for the group a bit more? Because over here, it's just, okay, I'm ordering for me, and you're ordering for you.
I think it's also sort of both. Depends on where you're eating. Like traditional Chinese restaurants, you order dishes that go in the center, and everyone takes a bit. Like you have your bowl, there'll be rice in it maybe, and then you take a bit of fish, you take a bit of vegetables, take a bit of tofu, and then yeah. Hi, Elaine.
That sounds cool. And yeah, good morning, Elaine. It is lovely to have you with us. And we've just been talking about games we've been playing. And can you remind us of the name of that? Sorry, Nam.
Makan apa? What do you want to eat? Hang on, I'll bring the box again. It's a Malaysian card game.
Makan apa.
Yeah. So, what do you want to eat? Yeah.
Makan apa. Okay, and hey, and morning, Alex. It's lovely to see you. Now,
sorry, very quickly before we get into the main event. Now that Elaine's here, I just have to ask, Elaine, have you seen that new trailer with the lady that looks like you? That video game. So Bez, if you pull up this game called Returnal, it's Return AL. This is a game that was just announced for the PlayStation 5, and the lady in it looks almost exactly like Elaine. Can we pull that up, please? So it's Return with AL at the back.
Seeing a thing.
We don't have to watch the whole thing. Just watch a little bit just to see the characters.
That's a music video. It's proving a bit tricky for me to find. I think that.
So the word is Return with AL at the back, and you type PS5 because it's a PlayStation 5 game. Looks like an astronaut kind of thing.
So what you're saying is that you want everybody to see this person?
Yeah. It looks almost exactly like Elaine does.
Am
I right?
Maybe.
She's got two differently colored eyes. I'm pretty sure Elaine. Okay, all right. Elaine says she can look it up herself. All right. No, I just thought I'd share with the friends, you know.
Anyway.
Okay.
So
I'm done.
Yeah, it says it's like a computer-generated version of Elaine. Maybe. Okay. So let's talk about recent highlights, living life and seeing the sights. Recent highlights. I cycled a fair distance yesterday. I had already eaten a fair bit, so I didn't want to have a proper bubble tea, because that would have been too many calories. But what I did is I had their most basic bubble tea, which is literally just tea. So there's not much sugar in it, but there are the little blueberry balls. So it was just kind of unsweetened tea. I specifically asked for no sugar, although, yeah, the balls have a bit of sugar. But yeah, that was a highlight of mine. And I feel like...
Whenever I order boba, I also ask for no sugar. Please continue. You feel like?
And yeah, I feel like just connecting with people, chatting to Xate, and yeah, actually having the picture from Alan Outson, that was a really nice thing. And yeah, hearing back from a couple of people who'd designed things for the L deck, and they got back to me about rules and stuff, and we're like, okay, yeah, thanks for the feedback. And it's just nice having this interaction. Do you know what I mean? I can't pick to a particular thing, but yeah.
No, for sure. Like, these small things are what really I think you have to find joy in. I had fried chicken for lunch.
You had what? Fried chicken?
Fried chicken for lunch, yeah.
Nice.
That's my highlight. I haven't had fried chicken in a long time because of these allergies, like I said. So she can't eat fried chicken. So she knows that she says that Calvin can go eat fried chicken if he wants, but I feel bad, like, you know, eating food that she can't eat that she wants to eat in front of her, right? So I think it's not very nice.
She with an allergy to chicken?
She has to be vegan for health reasons for like
a
few months.
That makes sense.
Oh, D's in the chat saying Calvin can eat fried chicken when he wants. Hi, it's me, D.
Oh, hey, D.
If you can see that picture, that is our cat, Kazrak One Eye. She has an Instagram, kazrak.1.i. You can go and look at my gorgeous daughter. She is a pretty cat. Oh, you've done that before. The last time I was on, you just let her photo scroll.
Last time you were on. Now, you do have to leave quite soon, so I do want to kind of get stuck in. And we've talked a little bit about recent highlights. Life is good in some ways, at least. Now, I do want to remind people, please feel free to comment, ask questions, like, follow. I'll try to get to all the questions, although I will try to push it along generally. And yeah, we've got all sorts of things, but we're going to start off talking about Twilight Imperium. Do you want to explain what is Twilight Imperium in 30 seconds for those who don't know?
I've trained my entire life for this moment. Twilight Imperium is a board game of galactic politics, warfare, trade, and just goodness. So if you could pull up maybe just the first picture in the top left. Okay, yeah. So those are the components. But if we look at one of the pictures of like the game being played, I can sort of explain. Yeah, that one in the lower corner. Top left one. Top left one. Here we go. Right, that one. So the game looks like that, and each player it plays from 3 to 6 players. You are trying to score points by scoring various objectives, and the game looks like that. You push your little ships around. You trade with your friends. You vote on new laws that permanently change the way the game is played for that session. You upgrade new technologies for your ships. It's very Euro. There's some combat with dice rolling. Yeah, it's a great game. One of my favorites. 30 seconds.
And it's done really well. It's got a really high rating. It's 8.47.
Wow, that's high.
And it's the 6th best game according to Board Game Geek.
Well, according to Board Game Geek users. But yeah, it is a pretty good game. I honestly actually believe that everyone should play Twilight. If you're into board games, you should play Twilight Imperium at least once. I think that you should be allowed after an hour to say, I don't like this, I would like to stop playing it. And that's fine because it is quite a long game. It's about an hour per person playing it. So 3 to 4 hours for your first game, if there's 3 players, is reasonable, but also quite long. So if you don't like it after half an hour, I think you should be allowed to say, okay, I'm done, I don't want to play anymore. And yeah. But I think everyone should play it. Everyone who's into board games should play Twilight Imperium. The reason is because there is no other game that does anywhere near close to what Twilight Imperium does, that replicates that experience.
Okay, so I played Eclipse. Yep. So why do you think Twilight Imperium is better than Eclipse?
I don't know, never played Eclipse.
Okay.
But the thing is that I know that Eclipse doesn't have the like the main thing that I like about Twilight Imperium is that there's 17 factions in the base game of 4th edition and 24 with the expansion, and each of them plays differently. I mean, the basic rules are the same, but whether you're playing the Embers of Muat or the Federation of Sol or the Nalu Collective or the Sadak Nor, each of these factions has a completely different feel. They have different faction-specific units. They have faction-specific rules. They have faction-specific abilities and technologies. And they have, like, the experience of playing one faction is completely different than the experience of playing any other faction. And that diversity of being able to express yourself in the game is what I think makes Twilight Imperium so special for me. And also the fact that the laws is big, because every so often your players have to vote on new laws, and the laws, I'll get to Will's point in a minute. If you vote on a new law, the law stays in effect for the entire game, and it changes how the game is played. Like, for example, you cannot have more than 3 ships in a system at any time. Well put, Calvin. What did I say?
Oh, just your description.
Okay, all right. So I wanna sort of hit up Will's comment. A game like that is a lifestyle game.
And Sage has mentioned that generally, if they play it and it's super long, either they like it somewhat, but not amazingly so, in which case, why didn't they just play, a normal 90-minute, 2-hour game? Or they really love it, and then they probably might never get to play it again. And now they start having to encourage all their friends, and to them it's like a lose-lose situation.
Oh yeah, fair enough. Like, I mean, I agree. Like, I think everyone should play it. Doesn't mean I think it is for everyone or that everyone will like it. And that's fine if you don't like it.
And it is an expensive game. So looking at Fantasy Flight's website, it is $150 US, which is, junky. That's
it's a lot.
Yeah, that's the same as Gloomhaven, basically.
Yep, it is an expensive game. I don't disagree. But don't worry, wherever you live on the planet, someone near you owns Twilight Imperium and is dying to get it played. So you don't actually have to buy it yourself.
That's possible. I mean, so what we're saying is that we want to find someone in Leipzig. I mean, yeah, you know what? I'm down for Twilight Imperium and at convention, maybe, but like the ideal situation would be, especially, let's not get into the logistics of long games, because the whole how easy is it to play long games is its own like 1 hour long thing. We could ramble about that. Let's talk about what you did. Let's talk about this. What is this? The Codex.
Okay, this is the Codex, the first of many codexes that will be released for Twilight Imperium. So this is a free online expansion that you can download on their website. If you scroll down, you can see a bunch of cards that come in the expansion, and it also comes with a new scenario that you can play in the game, and it comes with a bunch of just new stuff, right, that you can print out and use in your copy of Twilight Imperium right now. So it's like a free mini expansion for the game. Like all this stuff is new. It's not been in the game before, and it's not from the expansion either. The big expansion that's coming out at the end of the year. This is its own thing, and there will be multiple codexes that will be coming out over the course of the game's lifespan to add content to Twilight Imperium. That is the plan, and this is so yeah.
And obviously, you're not speaking on behalf of what you say. You are your own person, but you're not working for Fantasy Flight's games on this stream, at least.
No,
you know what I mean?
No, but this is what I understand from the designer Dane Beltrami. He told me what their plans are for the Codex, and so I'm just, whatever information I gave is information from him. That's all.
Now, you wrote this 3-page short story about conflict, and it feels like, I started reading it. It's quite deep. It feels like something that's very much written for the fans who already know who these people are. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I kind of do get what you mean. That was meant to be the feeling, but these characters are all new, actually. It's meant to introduce one of the new factions coming from the Prophecy of Kings expansion. But it was written to bring in new people. I do understand that it feels a bit dense. It's obviously better if you do have some knowledge of Twilight Imperium. But it was not written specifically for hyper fans. If you enjoy science fiction stories, if you enjoy spaceship stories, if you like grand space opera, you can read it and you should be able to enjoy it. Yeah, that's the idea.
And other than the 3 pages of story, were these little snippets here anything to do with you? Okay, so you were limited to those 3 pages.
What it was they knew that they wanted to put out this codex, and they wanted a story to go with the codex, and so they reached out to me. They emailed me and said, like, "Hey, Calvin, would you like to write a story for Twilight Imperium?" And I'm like, yes, yes. How many times can I say yes?
Now,
I'll find the email and read out exactly what I said. So they emailed me May 6th of this year. And she says, "Hi, Calvin. This is Katrina Ostrander with Fantasy Flight Games. Wanted to reach out when I saw your tweet reacting to the announcement of the Twilight Imperium novel. Are you interested and available in the next few weeks to write a short story set in the Twilight Imperium universe, boring legal stuff, etc., etc.?" Okay, this is my reply. Okay, well, first I signed the non-disclosure agreement. No. Okay, then the next email, it says, what's alien for I accept? Let's get started. That's literally the first thing I said, in like following all of the, yeah. I was very excited, obviously.
Sates was imagining you replying that said that's exact things. Yes, how many times can I say yes?
Yesterday or the day before, I replied an email where because they asked me if I wanted to do something, if I wanted to be involved with this project, which I can't talk about because it's secret. And my reply was, my short answer is yes, and my long answer is heck yes, with many E's in the thing. But to be fair, I only did this because I knew the person. I would not have done this to a person that I did not know. This is somebody that I had spoken to before, and we have a bit of a working relationship with. So that's why I felt comfortable saying that in a professional email. If it was somebody I had never spoken to before, I would not do that. Yes.
Now, I noticed that I kind of had some vague questions that I wanted to ask about. So at the bottom, how did the job come about? Was it because they know you like Twilight Imperium, they know you write stuff, and they're like, hey, we want Calvin's writing? Is it basically because they know?
Okay, so there's the two things, right? So first of all, I've been on Twitter for a while, and Board Games Twitter especially, and I've, had conversations with and following and being followed by several of the people who work at Fantasy Flight Games. And so, they're like, my friends. Like, I've had conversations with them, I talked to them, I've interviewed some of them. So this is just, I know them from the industry, right? So that's like background. So they know who I am, they know that I write, they know that they might have seen some of my writing, I don't know. So that's that. The other thing is that I asked them, why did you reach out to me to do this project? And they said, well, the guy who, I can't remember his name right now, but the guy who did all of our previous writing is no longer at Fantasy Flight. Either he's no longer at Fantasy Flight Games or he no longer wants to do fiction writing. I can't remember which. And we didn't really have any internal desire to write stories ourselves. And we have been pushing for more diverse people to come and write for us anyway. So, I tweeted very excitedly when they announced that they were going to release a Twilight Imperium novel. So all of those stars aligned, and they were like, hey, why don't we email Calvin? And they were like, okay, yeah, let's do it. Let's see if they say yes.
Is that even if you don't think they are, like, bigger companies are paying attention to what individuals are doing, because ultimately bigger companies are made up of individuals who also follow Twitter and stuff.
Sure. Like, I'm friends with quite a few FFG and ex-FFG people. Like, I'm friends with Kevin Wilson, who was the original designer of Doom and Descent, and he told me when he found out about that I worked on Twilight Imperium, he told me a story about the first time that he was the first person in the world to build a war sun, which is one of the just like the Death Star type unit in the game. He's the first person during the internal FFG playtest. It's like a Death Star. He was the first person to ever build a war. And I think just like stories of that are really cool,
I think there's a really big conversation to be had about the validity and the utility of books for games. Like, at what point do you build enough narrative to do something like that? Because I know Games Workshop does a lot of really nice stuff. And going into their stores, it kind of validates it. But let's focus on the Codex because, that's what we're here to talk about. And you have to head off in like 22 minutes. So what do you think having a 3-page story adds to this Codex? And are we going to see more stories in future Codexes? Are they all going to follow the same format? Are you going to write more stories?
I would love to write more stories, although they haven't asked me to do it yet. If they do more codexes, I would love to write for them. If they would like me to write a novel for them, I would love to do that. That would be like my dream job, to write a novel set in, maybe the Twilight Imperium universe or the Android universe. Would be great. Fingers crossed. What is the purpose of having the story there? Well, the thing is that I think FFG, uniquely among a lot of board game publishers, they really care about the lore and the backgrounds of the background universes of their games, because they don't just do one game, right? Like the Twilight Imperium universe has multiple games in it, right? The Android universe has multiple games in it. The Returnal universe has multiple games in it. Can we hear Calvin read the first few lines? I would love to. I'm so excited for Calvin's writing in TI. Yeah, great. What is the purpose of the story? It's to introduce people to one of the new factions. Right? If you see on the screen there, it says the Cottle flagship of the Argent Flight, and the Argent Flight is one of the new factions that will be released in the expansion. Yeah.
So let's have a reading of maybe the first paragraph or something.
Okay. Hang on. My eyesight sucks. Okay. The Cottle, flagship of the Argent Flight, soared through the Ordinian Nebula. A swarm of necro attack craft swirled and writhed in her wake, belching fire into the space between them. Sakura on Nevori watched through the view screen as the ship scythed through graceful clouds and flickering lights. But the other members of Sakura's command wing had their heads to their consoles and hands to their earpieces as the Cottle burned. The aft hull was awash with explosions, the armor plates fractured into winking dust. Okay. Nice. Shall I do paragraph 2? No, I want to do paragraph 2. Sakura's eyes flitted between the multiple reports flying up on her command console. Engine 6 was close to burnout. What remained of security was evacuating everything aft of the engine room. The shuttle filled with survivors from the wreckage of Strikewing Epsilon had been lost with all hands. Her feathers were all trying to stand up at once, but she willed them down. She had rotated to captain now, and everyone in command was looking to her for guidance. Part of her laughed. She was covered in her wingmate Valixa on arrow-sized blood, and the bridge was bathed in ultraviolet emergency light, and here she was thinking about ruffled feathers. So the story, I'm going to stop there, but the story is about Sakura and the fact that she's now been made captain of the flagship of the Argent Flight, and her struggle to save the ship from being boarded and assimilated by the necrovirus, who are like a race of AI that steals and copies technology. I'm intrigued and I don't even know the backstory. Yeah, that's the goal. That's the goal. So one of the things...
I will just share a link to the PDF on all the places.
Yeah,
so, yeah, I do want to say Xate does... they would need to play a few times before playing Calvin's expansion. It's not Calvin's expansion as such. Calvin was part of it in adding the fiction, but you didn't do design work.
No, I didn't do any design work for the expansion. No.
Just to clarify. But I think, as you say, bringing it to life, bringing people in, that is the whole point. It's like, okay, you know what the game's about. Now it tells us what we're meant to be thinking about when we're actually playing the game. It excites us.
Yeah, and it provides context for what you're doing. Yeah. It sort of illuminates a little bit more about the universe, what it's like for them, the people in here. Because for me, I'm always very interested in like individual stories, right? Part of why Twilight Imperium is great for me is because the stories that game generates is every time you play, you'll be telling stories of, epic betrayals and grand fleets crashing together, or like the time that I passed that law was just by one vote, and those are the stories we'll be telling for years and years and years.
Oh, whoops.
Sorry, what?
Sorry, Calvin, I didn't change one name in the thing. It's all about Calvin. It's just, if you have any questions for Ella, you could ask in the chat, but Ella's not going to answer. Hopefully you've also got questions for Calvin. But
I'll let you in a bit of a tidbit. So all of the stuff that I read there, all the names and stuff, those were not in my draft. In my draft, I just wrote like ship name, name one, name of shuttlecraft, and Dane from FFG filled them in. So Dane is the designer of Twilight Imperium 4 and the expansion, and he filled in all of the names. So Sakura was not Sakura until after I finished the story. She was name 1. And and then
did those names all come from you, or was there another kind of creative team? Presumably, Fantasy Flight already have a big creative in-house team.
So I worked with two people on this story. The first one is Dane, who's the designer, and the second is Katrina. So Katrina Ostrander is the fiction editor at Fantasy Flight Games. She is the keeper of all their lore. She has this massive internal wiki of all of their characters from all of their various games. If you played like an Arkham Horror game, she's got like a giant Arkham Horror encyclopedia, basically, talking about all the different details of all the different things. So she's the one who helps to fact check everything. If presumably my story is now in the wiki, but I didn't have to come up with any of the names or anything like that. So that was something that Dane did by himself. And we agreed to that. I just said, I'm going to write name 1, name 2, name 3, name 4, and you can decide what name 1, name 2, name 3, name 4 are going to be, and you can plug it into the story. Is there an overarching book for the entire game? No, but there will be a novel released soon about Twilight Imperium. I don't know what it's about, though.
So it's not that you've signed any... What's the situation with NDAs? I mean, if you had, I know there's situations where it's so secret that you can't even say whether you've signed an NDA about it. But if you did know about the book, could you tell us that you've signed an NDA about the book? Do you know what I mean?
Probably, yeah. Probably it'd be like, I can't talk about it because I've signed an NDA. Yeah, that's fine.
But you don't know anything about the forthcoming books?
No, I don't. That's not me trying to dodge. I actually don't know, because the book publishing company is Aconite Books, and that's a completely different company from FFG, even though they're under the same Asmodee umbrella. They're in the UK, actually, Aconite Books. Anytime Calvin doesn't mention Android is taking his conversation of the continued existence of the Android universe. I want them to make more Android games. Android is my favorite universe. There is a question for Ella, but I can't answer it because I'm not Ella.
But presumably you also don't know any sales figures.
No, of course not. I wouldn't. No.
Now,
it's popular enough that they made an expansion, and the expansion is
that they made the thing 4 times, and it's a big game. It costs a lot.
It's the 4th edition of a game that costs a lot, takes a very long time to play, and they released an expansion which costs $100 just the expansion.
Crazy. Okay, so
again, we can only speculate it's because TI is so unique, and no game has come close to doing anything like what TI does.
Let me ask, so how was it working on a game that's so beloved, not only from you but from others? Was there a lot of pressure, both from yourself because you loved this so much, from other people?
Yeah.
What were the unique challenges?
So the thing is that if I didn't have to work with Katrina, I think it would have been impossible, because I would have just been constantly second guessing myself, like, oh, is this good enough? Oh, I don't want to release something that is true to the universe. But because Katrina is such an experienced editor, and she was able to say things like okay, so I'll talk about 2 specific pieces of feedback that she gave. So one, when we were talking about the crew, she was like, okay, you've described, because I sent her an outline first, right? Like I didn't send her Is my sound okay? Yeah, my sound's okay. I didn't send her the whole story. I sent her like a proposed outline of the story, and then she came back and she said, "Yeah, I so far I like the storyline, but I feel like the crew, the way the crew relate to each other, is very human. They're not human; they're birds. This is a race of birds, right? So how can we change their society, the way that these birds relate to each other, in a way that feels more like birds do?" Because originally, I just defaulted to the Star Trek thing, right? There's a captain, there's a first officer, there's a navigator, and all that and all that. But because of her comment about the bird thing, I came up with this idea that, how birds fly in a V?
Oh,
There's always one bird at the front of the V. So, and they take turns, right? So it's not always the same bird in front. When that bird gets tired, a different bird will move to the front of the V. So that's how this command structure works on the ship. She's captain now, but later in the story she rotates out of captain, so she's not the front of the V anymore. So she goes to a different position. So I thought, that's interesting. The second thing that she said was, the second piece of feedback that she gave me also was that there is, bit of a spoiler, there is a secret romance in the story. So one of the characters is in love with one of the other characters, and they're not allowed to be in love. And she asked me to come up with a reason why they were not allowed to be in love. And I said, and again, we went back to the bird thing, because birds in real life pair bond, right? They mate for life. Most birds do anyway.
Okay.
Yeah. They develop very strong pair bonds with each other. But I was thinking, in this faction, the Argent Flight, that Dee was very happy about it. She really liked the way that the romance turned out. I won't talk about how the romance ends. You can read the 3-page story for yourself. And
everyone's got the link. I mean, don't spoil our own material.
Yeah.
But, I really like what you're saying, how, you didn't just default to, okay, they've got feathers, and I like the kind of bits of ruffling the feathers and all this. It describes in paragraph 2, okay, these are not humans, there's weird anatomy going on, but thinking also about how would their behavior change. As someone who's never played Twilight Imperium, okay, this is a noob question, okay, but is it very asymmetric?
Yeah. Okay. Well, no, because everyone plays by the same rules. It's not like Vast or Root or anything like that. Everyone plays by the same rules. It's just that every faction breaks the rules in a specific way.
Kind of like Cosmic Encounter.
Yeah, a little bit like that. Yeah, which is also a Fantasy Flight game.
Yeah. Now it is. I mean, we don't need to get into the whole history. We've only got like 15 minutes, but so you were working with, you mentioned Katrina and Dean?
Dane, D-N-E, like Great Dane.
Okay.
Like the dog. He's I said, he's the designer of Twilight Imperium and the expansion, yeah.
So did you feel a lot of pressure to make changes, or were you basically able to do your own thing?
Katrina asked for changes on the outline, and those were some of the changes that she asked for. She also, when I submitted the first draft, after that, she also asked for some parts to be taken out because they were not necessary. Like when I say some parts, I mean like the first half of this sentence is not really doing anything. Can you change it? Or she'd give a note like, this word has been used twice in the previous 2 paragraphs. Can we have a different word? So tiny notes like that. But
wow! So sounds like a really useful level of feedback that not only can make that individual product better, but also something that's going to help you going forward.
For sure. Yeah. And it is actually one of my first few times working with an experienced fiction editor, and it was great. Will says, it seems really difficult for me to try to write something that meets someone else's vision. Now, see, here's the thing. They let me propose the plot. They just had a premise. Like, here, we would like it to be about the Argent Flight flagship, and they are being chased by the necrovirus. That's it. That's all we've got. You propose the plot. And I did. So I wrote out the outline of what happens during the story, what is the beginning, what's the middle, what's the ending. And I proposed it all, and they really liked it. So I just went ahead with it.
Was it always going to be 3 pages?
Yes, I had a strict word limit of 2,000 words, although we ended up being like 2,200. Okay, I guess not that strict. So when we first started the project, they told me 2,000 words. So they were saying, okay, so aim at that, you know. And then I think after I submitted draft 1, and she said, okay, you know what? Give us more of the birds and their relationships and like the way they relate to each other. Go above 2,000 if you need to, because I think it's important enough. That's what I was told. So I was like, okay, fine. So I have a little bit extra space to talk about their culture and their relationships. Yep.
And presumably that limit, if you had managed to get to 2,000, they would have just stuck more arts in.
I guess so. I think it ended up being 2,200 in the end, or 2,100 something. Not that much higher.
I mean, yeah, what's a couple hundred words between friends, eh? Yeah, I wanted to ask you, any lessons learned from this? What would you do differently if you were to do it all again?
Time travel to when Fantasy Flight was started and get myself hired. That's what I would do. What did I learn? I learned that I love it, and I really want to do more of it. Like if I could just press a button and it'd be like, Calvin, all you do for the rest of your life is write stories for board games, I'd be like. If you ask me to choose between, you can either do the next Crazy Rich Asians film or you can do the next Twilight Imperium story, I would pick the Twilight Imperium story.
Is there going to be a new Crazy Rich Asians film, or is that?
Yeah, they would like to make one. Obviously, the universe is not so ridiculous as to force me to choose between the two. But I'm trying to show you, like, I'm trying to illustrate how much I love doing it and how much I would love to do more of it. Because, I mean, part of it is career advancement, right? Like, this is my chosen industry. I'm never really going to make it anywhere as an actor. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not going to happen. Being in Crazy Rich Asians was a weird fluke.
You did eat those noodles pretty well.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? I'm not going to be able to make a living off of it. No way.
Sure.
But as a writer in the tabletop industry, I can, and that would be great.
Now, out of respect to you, I would like to, quickly do a recap. And I would like to go over, so this is a board game. It is your favorite board game, is that fair to say? Second. Oh, after Android Netrunner. Okay, so basically your top 2 games are from the same company, which is why you just want to be hired by them.
Please get into both industries and write a TI film. Yes.
Yes. And yes, that would be cool. And so you had this game. It's your second favorite game ever. You absolutely adore it. So you got hired for it. You had fun. You quickly, can you go over the good, the bad, and the tips? So quickly, what went well?
Everything.
What was your highlights?
The highlights were the fact that they liked my outline. I'm really glad that they liked my outline. They didn't ask me to change anything about the general flow of the story. What was bad about it is they haven't asked me to do a second one. That's bad. That's terrible. Crazy Rich Androids. That's very funny. Tips. Ooh. Like I said, like the only really actionable tip that I have is that I was hired for the job because they knew me on Twitter. They knew who I was. I'm friends with them. And that only came because I spent so much time making friends on Twitter, right? And doing my best to make being friends with me on Twitter a positive and enriching experience. I try very hard not to tweet things that might upset people. Even though I do a lot of social advocacy and stuff, like I try to do it in a way that is positive, right? That leads to growth rather than just angry. Although I am very angry a lot of the time about a lot of the injustices that are happening in the world, I personally find that it's not healthy for me to just be like, I'm so mad about this. I find that if I'm angry, I try and channel it into a positive direction. So, all of these like lessons that I've learned about, my Twitter presence and being online and being a friend to people online have directly led into me getting this job, because they know who I am. I'm friends with many of them. They've recommended me. They got my email from, another one of their co-workers who had my email. So, yeah.
And I think that's a really nice recap. And thank you, everyone who's been watching. Yeah, thank you to Alan Outson, Xate, Alex, Elaine, and Dee. It's lovely to see you all in the comments. And of course, to Jess, it was lovely to see you. And most importantly, thank you again to Calvin for kind of. Oh. I'm tickling you. I'm tickling.
No.
Okay, so that's our wrap up. And if you want to check me out, stuffbybeds.bigcartel.com. You can buy my stuff. Twitter.com/stuffbybeds. I tweet a lot. Instagram.com/stuffbybeds or some pictures. Twitch.tv/stuffbybeds is where you can watch these feeds. Facebook.com/thingsbybeds is a thing. And stuffbybeds@gmail.com if you wish to email me. And where can people find you, Calvin?
Twitter.com/Ithala.
And looking forward to hopes and ambitions. It's over to you for this final section. I'd like to invite everybody to say what a thing that you're looking forward to. Maybe it's looking forward to today or tomorrow or next week or in a year's time. I am looking forward to having a takeaway. Sorry?
Oh, a takeaway. Yeah, brilliant. Sorry, I thought I was going to go first. So you're looking forward to having a takeaway. What are you going to order?
Oh, I still don't know. I'm going to make a decision later. I'm going to take my time. I'm going to read and peruse the things.
Okay. I have a friend over. She's here right now. She's in my room while we're doing this call, and we're going to play board games.
Oh, what are you playing?
Maybe Gloomhaven. Maybe Unmatched. We don't know yet.
Maybe Twilight Imperium?
No, definitely not. It's 6 p.m. No. Looking forward to my birthday, I guess. Yeah, happy birthday in advance.
It's your birthday in 2 days. Happy birthday. Well, I'll probably see you. Oh, Dee's looking forward to eating vegan vanilla ice cream later. And looking... Oh, I miss yours and Dee's tweets, but... Oh, because Elaine's not really on Twitter so much.
Yeah.
But... Yeah, and looking forward to finding a cheap, complete copy of Twilight Imperium in my local charity shop.
For sure.
Now, if you have enjoyed this, then please share, spread the word. I'll be back tonight. Whoops. I'll be back tonight at 8 p.m. I normally do a thing every 8 p.m. on Thursday. Tonight might be the last one. We'll see how that goes. We're going to probably be playing Returnal and something else. Maybe How Much Money. And tomorrow morning, I am going to be talking to Mark from Tabletopia. I'm excited about.
Mark is
and
a
the
great
only
person.
thing left to do. Thank you very much, Elaine, and Jess is looking forward to Virtual Expo. The only thing left to do is to say bye, 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 bye. This is a goodbye song. Bye, 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 bye. Thank you for watching along. Bye, 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 bye. This is the end of the show. Bye, 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 bye. And now it's time to go. Bye.
Happy birthday to Bez. Happy birthday to Bill for board games. Bye, everyone.
Bye bye. Thank you for watching along. Oh, thank you, Alan. That's lovely. Bye bye. Bye bye. This is the end of the show. Bye bye. Bye bye. And now it's time to go. Bye bye.